What if the sand beneath your feet was hiding a secret, capable of rewriting human history overnight? Picture the vast, windswept dunes of the Giza Plateau, a place you have been told holds no more surprises. You have always been taught that the Great Sphinx sits alone, a solitary guardian of the ancient world. But what if that solitary guardianship is a carefully maintained illusion? Right now, in March of 2026, the world is holding its breath. Researchers have just leaked ground-penetrating radar scans revealing massive geometric underground anomalies directly beneath the plateau. We are not talking about a simple tomb or a forgotten well. These radar reflections show something colossal, sparking massive global theories that a second Sphinx hidden in Egypt is finally waking up from its millennia-long slumber. The contrast between what the system wants you to believe and what the Earth is actually revealing has never been profoundly more intense. You are witnessing the exact boundary between a forgotten past and a remembered truth. If you feel drawn to uncovering the hidden truths of our world, please subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell right now. Your support is the absolute lifeblood that allows us to keep bypassing the mainstream narrative, bringing these profound, soul-stirring mysteries directly to your screen so we can take this journey together. To truly understand the magnitude of this March 2026 archaeological discovery, you have to look beyond the physical sand and stone. You need to view the Earth the way the legendary mystic Edgar Cayce viewed the human vessel. Cayce believed that the body is not just meat and bone, but a profound network of aura and bioelectricity, pulsating with hidden energies and forgotten memories. He taught that every single living thing carries an energetic signature, an invisible blueprint of its true history. Now imagine the Giza Plateau not just as a tourist destination, but as a living, breathing entity with its own bioelectric signature. The recent radar pulses sent into the Egyptian soil acted almost like an energetic scan of the Earth's aura, and what bounced back was an absolute shock to the scientific community. The ground itself is humming with structural interference. For decades, we have been trapped in a rigid system of archaeological thought, a prison of accepted timelines that ignores the deeper spiritual vibrations of human history. Yet, these Giza Plateau underground anomalies have shattered that complacency in a matter of days. The internet exploded when these scans were leaked. Millions of people around the world instinctively felt a spark of recognition, a sudden awakening to the idea that our ancestors left something massive buried in the dark, waiting for a time when our technology, and perhaps our collective consciousness, was finally ready to perceive it. It is the ultimate battle between the restriction of conventional science and the absolute freedom of ancient hidden knowledge. The digital world is currently ablaze with claims that the geometric shapes detected on the monitors are the undeniable contours of a twin guardian, buried deep beneath the limestone bedrock. But as you navigate through the endless viral videos and chaotic social media threads, you have to ask yourself a critical question. Are we projecting our deepest desires onto static noise, or is the Earth finally shedding its skin to reveal a truth we forgot we even knew? In just a few moments, you are going to discover a detail about these radar anomalies that absolutely changes everything we thought we knew about human origins. So let's cut through the chaotic noise of the internet for a second. When you scroll through your feed today, you're probably being bombarded with hyper-realistic AI-generated images of a giant stone head poking out of the Egyptian sand, surrounded by military tents and floodlights. But what did the researchers actually find? It's absolutely crucial that we separate the hard, undeniable science from the wild social media exaggeration that's currently breaking the internet. The truth is, right now, there isn't a physical, fully excavated statue staring back at us under the blazing desert sun. Instead, what the scientific community has on their hands is arguably much more intriguing and infinitely more mysterious. They've captured highly anomalous ground-penetrating radar signals. To truly grasp what this means, think of it like a medical ultrasound, but conducted on a massive planetary scale. When geologists shoot sophisticated electromagnetic pulses deep into the bedrock of the Giza Plateau, the waves bounce back differently, depending on exactly what they hit. Solid, natural limestone provides one specific energetic signature, while an empty space, a hidden corridor or deliberately carved geometric structures, deliver an entirely different echo. And let me tell you, the echoes bouncing back from this unprecedented March 2026 archaeological discovery are painting a picture that has veteran experts completely baffled and sweating in their field tents. You see, natural geological formations are inherently messy, random, and entirely chaotic. But the Giza Plateau underground anomalies we're discussing right now? They're sharp. They're undeniably, almost aggressively geometric. We're looking at perfect right angles, massive cavernous voids, and structural patterns that strongly suggest artificial intelligent design. It is the stark contrast between the random chaos of nature and the precise, deliberate intention of ancient builders. But here is exactly where the internet gets it twisted. A geometric void on a radar screen doesn't automatically mean we've found a fully carved second Sphinx hidden in Egypt, complete with paws and a tail. It means we've discovered something colossal that simply shouldn't be there according to the rigidly accepted historical timeline. This is where the boundary between an exciting, viable archaeological hypothesis and a runaway digital rumor gets incredibly blurry. The mainstream academic system desperately wants to brush these anomalies off as mere natural sinkholes or insignificant, forgotten minor tombs. They want to keep history neat, tidy, and safely locked inside a textbook. But the raw data? It whispers a completely different, soul-stirring story. It tells us about forgotten architecture buried under thick layers of time, sand, and institutional amnesia. It's almost as if the plateau itself is holding on to an ancient memory, a bioelectric imprint of a lost civilization, and we're just now developing the technology sensitive enough to read its aura. By jumping straight to sensational conclusions, society risks missing the actual breathtaking reality of what's slowly unfolding right beneath our feet. We're confusing the map with the territory. Before we dive into the true historical bombshell that ties all of this raw data together, I want to hear your unvarnished thoughts. Do you think mainstream archaeology is intentionally hiding the truth about these geometric underground structures? Or are we simply letting our collective imaginations run wild over some blurry radar scans? Drop a comment down below and let me know exactly where you stand. And hey, if you're captivated by this deep dive, please hit that like button to help this video break through the algorithm. Because the real mystery isn't just about what is buried in the sand. It's about who actually predicted it would be there in the first place. But there is one chilling, highly specific detail about the location of these underground voids that almost nobody in the scientific community dares to mention. And it's about to wake up a ghost. Listen, to really grasp why the internet is completely losing its collective mind over these geometric scans, you have to pull your eyes away from the modern radar screens for just a minute and look back into the misty shadows of the early 20th century. We are not just dealing with a cold, hard scientific anomaly here. We are watching the undeniable resurrection of a ghost. To understand the true earth-shattering weight of this March 2026 archaeological discovery, you must understand the man who arguably saw it coming almost a century before the technology even existed to prove him right. We are talking about Edgar Cayce, famously known around the world as the Sleeping Prophet. For decades, the rigid academic system has desperately tried to lock Cayce's profound predictions away in the dusty, forgotten basement of fringe pseudoscience. But right now, the sheer undeniable weight of the raw data is kicking that door wide open. You see, Cayce was an American mystic who possessed an incredibly rare, almost terrifying ability to tap into the bioelectric frequency of the universe. When he closed his eyes and slipped into a deep, self-induced trance, he wasn't just guessing or making up elaborate fairy tales to entertain the masses. He was supposedly accessing the Akashic Records, an energetic, multi-dimensional library containing the absolute memory of every soul that has ever walked this earth. And out of all the incredible, mind-bending things he visualized during his thousands of recorded trances, he kept returning to one specific, highly charged geographic location, the golden sands of Giza. It is an absolutely staggering contrast between the sterile, lifeless system of modern history books and the wild, untamed soul of ancient memory. Picture this for a second because it will send a chill right down your spine. It is the 1930s. A modest, soft-spoken man from Kentucky lies down on a simple wooden couch, closes his eyes, and begins to vividly describe an intricate network of secret chambers and forgotten passageways buried deep beneath the pores of the Sphinx. He spoke of an energetic repository, a hidden archive of human history that was deliberately concealed to survive a catastrophic global reset. Now, fast forward to this exact moment. Picture a modern, highly skeptical geologist sitting in a high-tech field tent, staring at a glaring monitor, as ground-penetrating radar reveals massive, deliberate geometric voids in the exact same locations Cayce described. The sheer synchronicity is enough to make the most hardened scientific skeptic pause and question the very nature of our reality. This is precisely why the concept of a second Sphinx hidden in Egypt is not just some random viral trend generated by bored kids on social media. It is a profound, echoing resonance from the past. Cayce himself frequently hinted at ancient dualities, at hidden counterparts and mirrored structures that serve to balance the powerful energetic grid of the plateau. When you really think about it, we are currently witnessing a massive, global battle between society's forced collective amnesia and a deep spiritual remembrance. The mainstream system desperately wants you to forget. Your soul desperately wants you to remember. The current Giza Plateau underground anomalies are acting as a massive trigger for human consciousness, forcing us to ask if this sleeping mystic was actually tuning his mind into a bioelectric imprint of a civilization that we have entirely forgotten. We are standing on the precipice of an immense paradigm shift, watching the physical data slowly catch up to the spiritual vision. And while the establishment aggressively scrambles to explain away these hollow underground spaces as mere natural sinkholes, the truth regarding what Cayce claimed is locked inside those specific chambers is far more dangerous, because it isn't just gold or forgotten statues. It is a ticking clock for human consciousness, and you are about to see exactly what happens when the countdown hits 0. So what exactly is the Earth hiding beneath the pores of its most famous guardian? What could possibly be buried beneath the Giza Plateau that would make modern geology sweat and mystical history collide in the absolute epicenter of a viral storm? We have to look closely at the most famous and, frankly, the most explosive prediction Edgar Cayce ever uttered while in a deep, bioelectric trance. He didn't just casually mention empty geometric voids in the bedrock. He specifically, emphatically described the existence of the Hall of Records. This isn't just a dusty chamber filled with broken pottery or golden trinkets for a pharaoh's afterlife. We are talking about the ultimate forgotten library of human consciousness, a massive hidden vault containing the absolute, unedited history of our planet, specifically the lost wisdom and advanced technological blueprints of Atlantis. It is the literal holy grail of forbidden archaeology, and right now the Giza Plateau underground anomalies are drawing a giant, glowing red X over the exact spot he pointed to decades ago. Imagine the sheer, terrifying magnitude of a discovery like that. Picture a massive, hermetically sealed underground chamber, untouched by the devastating ravages of time, preserving the energetic signature of a civilization that supposedly wiped itself out. Cayce claimed that before the final catastrophic destruction of the Atlantean continent, its surviving inhabitants deliberately traveled to Egypt to hide their most sacred, advanced knowledge. They didn't bury it randomly in the desert. They buried it deep beneath the solid limestone bedrock, guarded by the Sphinx itself. They were intentionally leaving a bioelectric time capsule for a future generation that would eventually evolve enough to understand its profound power. A generation that could finally handle the raw, terrifying truth of our cyclical history without destroying itself in the process. It is the ultimate contrast between the forgotten arrogance of the past and the desperate, hungry curiosity of the present. When you hear about a massive, structural void popping up on a ground-penetrating radar screen in March of 2026, you cannot simply dismiss it as a natural sinkhole. You have to ask yourself, is this the actual physical manifestation of Cayce's prophetic vision? The internet is practically melting down because millions of people intuitively feel this connection in their bones. The mainstream academic system is frantically trying to pour cold water on the blazing fire of public speculation, but the raw data is completely out of their hands now. The March 2026 archaeological discovery is acting as a massive, undeniable catalyst for human awakening. It forces us to confront the terrifying possibility that our rigidly constructed historical timeline is nothing but an absolute fiction, a comforting fairy tale we tell ourselves to avoid the overwhelming, staggering reality of our forgotten origins. This is precisely where the concept of a second Sphinx hidden in Egypt becomes so incredibly intoxicating and incredibly dangerous. Cayce frequently spoke of duality, of mirrored structures and hidden counterparts that balance the powerful energetic grid of the ancient world. The Great Sphinx we see today might just be the solitary, weathered tip of a massive hidden iceberg. The geometric shapes currently bouncing back on the radar monitors might not just be the Hall of Records itself. They could very well be the structural footprint of a massive, buried complex, a twin guardian watching over the hidden archive of human history. We are no longer just dealing with dry, dusty archaeology. We are dealing with a profound spiritual excavation of the human soul. The system wants you to believe it is just static noise on a computer screen, but the Earth is screaming a completely different story. The sheer tension between these two opposing realities is practically vibrating off the charts. Coming up, we will critically examine whether the digital world is exposing a legitimate, earth-shattering conspiracy, or if millions of people are desperately forcing an ancient prophecy to fit a modern scientific glitch. So let's take a collective deep breath, step back from the glowing screens, and really evaluate what we are actually looking at here. Are we genuinely staring at a forgotten prophecy coming to life, or are we just forcing a square peg into a round hole because we desperately want the magic to be real? When you actually dive into the original transcripts of Edgar Cayce's readings, you notice something incredibly fascinating. He spoke endlessly about hidden chambers. He detailed the intricate subterranean passageways and the legendary knowledge-filled Hall of Records, but he rarely, if ever, explicitly stated that a massive, physically identical stone twin was sitting out there buried in the sand. Yet today, the sheer concept of a second Sphinx hidden in Egypt is completely dominating the global conversation. So, how on earth did we get here? It essentially boils down to a profound psychological phenomenon, a massive collision between our deep spiritual hunger and the cold, unfeeling machinery of modern science. When the news of the March 2026 archaeological discovery broke, millions of people instantly, almost intuitively, connected those geometric voids to the concept of duality. In ancient Egyptian cosmology, balance is absolutely everything. Light and dark, life and death, the physical and the bioelectric. If the Great Sphinx is the physical weathering guardian of the plateau, wouldn't it make perfect cosmic sense for there to be a hidden energetic counterpart? Perhaps a pristine subterranean reflection of the monument above, shielded from the destructive cycles of surface history. To really wrap our heads around this, imagine looking at a massive planetary Rorschach ink blot test. The radar sends back a shadowy geometric outline, and everyone immediately projects their own internal reality onto it. The academic establishment looks at the screen and desperately tries to see a random, meaningless sinkhole, because acknowledging anything else would completely destroy their tightly controlled historical narrative. They are terrified of the unknown, clinging to a system that demands conformity. But when the awakened mind looks at that exact same data, it sees deliberate, unmistakable intention. It sees the undeniable fingerprints of a lost civilization. The viral idea of a second Sphinx hidden in Egypt might just be the most easily digestible way for our modern brains to comprehend an ancient technology or an energetic vault that is so profoundly advanced, it simply looks like magic to us. The profound danger here is that the internet often acts as a massive, chaotic echo chamber, amplifying our deepest desires until they completely drown out the raw, objective data. We are caught in a desperate, exhausting tug-of-war. Are we collectively manifesting a reality through our sheer focused belief, or are we blindly projecting a comforting myth onto a blank canvas of limestone? Cayce always taught that our bioelectric aura never lies, even when our physical senses are easily fooled. Right now, the aura of the Giza Plateau underground anomalies is practically blinding us with its sheer intensity, demanding that we finally pay attention to the whispers beneath the bedrock. The anomaly under the sand is undeniably real, and it is undeniably geometric. But whether it is a physical statue, a hall of ancient records, or something entirely beyond our current comprehension, it has already achieved its primary goal. It has completely shattered the illusion that our history is fully written. Very shortly, we are going to explore the terrifying domino effect this anomaly is about to unleash on the mainstream historical timeline and the explosive reality of what happens if the excavation actually begins. So where exactly does this leave us, standing at the precipice of the greatest historical mystery of our lifetime? Ultimately, this jaw-dropping March 2026 archaeological discovery forces the modern world down one of two very distinct, unavoidable paths. On one hand, the rigid academic system might simply double down on its sterile, lifeless narrative. They could easily release a series of highly technical, deliberately confusing reports, claiming that these Giza Plateau underground anomalies are nothing more than natural fissures in the limestone bedrock, successfully sweeping the entire phenomenon back under the proverbial rug. That is the ultimate prison of the accepted timeline, a massive establishment desperately trying to maintain control over a narrative that is rapidly slipping through their fingers. They want you to go back to sleep and forget you ever saw the scans. But there is a second, infinitely more thrilling possibility that is keeping millions of people awake at night. The sheer, overwhelming pressure from the awakened public, combined with the undeniable clarity of the geometric radar data, might actually force a genuine, fully transparent excavation. If independent researchers actually manage to break ground and shine a light into those suffocating ancient voids, it will not just be about confirming the existence of a second Sphinx hidden in Egypt, or finally stumbling upon Edgar Cayce's legendary Hall of Records. It will instantly ignite a radically new, profoundly spiritual phase of research at Giza. It will finally bridge the massive, agonizing gap between our deep bioelectric intuition and hard, undeniable scientific evidence. It would prove once and for all that our ancestors were infinitely more advanced, and our collective history infinitely more magical than the textbooks ever dared to admit. We are standing right now at the exact intersection of profound forgetting and beautiful remembrance, just waiting for the Earth to make her final, undeniable move. The truth is down there in the dark, vibrating at a frequency we are just beginning to tune into, and it is quietly waiting for us to finally be brave enough to look. If this message spoke directly to your soul, and you absolutely refuse to let the system bury our true human history in the sand, comment, "I am remembering the truth" down below so we can see how many of us are actually waking up. And please, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and turn on all notifications so you never miss a single update as this incredible story unfolds. We are actively uncovering this profound, earth-shattering mystery together, step by step, and your presence on this journey means absolutely everything.